Oh no, my pillow. Oh, we're gonna use that pillow. It's kind of like a little bit of back support. All right. So I'm just gonna close out this Will Smith controversy segment with some final statements. I'm really happy actually that we've been able to unpack quite a lot of topics through this one example. So there's something that came out a few hours ago by Deadline. Heartbroken, Will Smith resigns from the Academy ahead of decision on his future after the Oscar slap of Chris Rock. Okay, well, I would like to pull up another example. So this is from The Insider, um, where Drake says, let's actually just pull it. It was a lengthy post, and I wonder if they have. Okay, yeah. So he says, I think we should stop allowing ourselves to be shocked every year by the disconnect between impactful music and these awards and just accept that what once was the highest form of recognition may no longer matter to the artists that exist now and the ones that come after. It's like a relative you keep expecting to fix up, but they just can't change their ways. Um, yeah. So he says, the other day I said The Weekend was a lock for either album or song of the year, along with countless other reasonable assumptions, and it just never goes that way. This is a great time for somebody to start something new that we can build up over time and pass on to the generations to come. Now, I feel like this is probably or hopefully what Will Smith is going to do for film, because whether Will Smith goes to, like, first of all, no one was watching the Oscars. No, there are a few people who are super film fanatics who watch the Oscars. Like, I even made a video because I was like, I realized that the Oscars were coming up because it came up in like a Google News article, and I was like, I didn't even know this was happening. So I had to go manually search all the movies that were even up for nomination because I hadn't seen any of them. I didn't know who any of those actors were. Like, I just, none of it came up on my radar at all. Okay, like, I definitely wasn't gonna watch. Probably the only way I would watch is if someone invited me to go, or if I was a presenter or something. But I don't think I'd be invited to present. So you know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't watch on television. It's not, no. I don't think it's just me. Like, I don't think our current generation of people were watching at all. Like, we weren't really paying attention at all. We were just doing other things. And I know that Will Smith's impact on society is just phenomenal. Like, Will Smith is probably the most recognizable actor around the globe, like internationally, among all cultures, especially with the slap now. I mean, what it's done for PR in terms of people really understanding who Will Smith is, it's done incredible. I mean, this guy is like everybody. Will Smith is a household name. Not that he wasn't before, but he super is now, right? Okay. So, um given like the fact that just mainstream white media and film and television cinema, all of it just lacks the ability to have full representation. It hasn't happened. It's been hundreds of years, right? It's not doing it. But YouTube is just, I mean, it's catching up by the day, all right? Like, these movies, films are being produced. We've got YouTubers who have just taken it to a whole other fucking level, okay? And it's moving at an exponential pace. And that is the now. That is the future. This is where the people are, and I think that there are some people who are just out of touch. I'm gonna actually read his statement, and we can unpack that. But I also watch, like you guys know, on Fridays I watch Real Time with Bill Maher, who also covered the slap, obviously. Now, he was basically trying to divide the people who were in support of the slap and were justifying it as people who are like leftists who are anti violence when it comes to speech, but pro violence when it comes to real violence. Now, don't get me wrong, because I know who he's talking about. There are some like extra woke people, but I think these are actually mostly white people. And I actually feel like most of them were not in support of the slap. The people who were in support of the slap are mostly people in the black community. But like, I think this is where a lot of people just are lacking context. Like, the entire scenario between Chris Rock and Will Smith, there's some context there, okay? And like all of the shit that's going on with the entanglement, the red table talk, the Will Smith crying, the emasculation over the last 2 years, all of this shit is like really specific to the black community. And the slap was another thing that was very specific to cultural norms in the black community. For other people who are not a part of that community to weigh in and have opinions, they just lack so much context. And like, the people who are those, like, you know, using violence speech and then violence, and now they're in support of the real violence and not the word violence or something. Like, I hear that, but that's not what most people are. And also, most of the people we just need we need more than a dual party system, because like, I don't fall on the left or the right. Okay, I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. I don't really believe in either of those parties. They don't represent my interests, right, as like Olivia in society right now. So I think Bill Maher is just thinking a little bit too broadly, as though all people in California are the same and all people in Florida are the same, and like there's only one definition of a conservative. Like, it's like, moderates are a thing, okay? And I feel like actually most people who have been critical of the slap probably fall into this moderate category, where they realize like sometimes you've taken shit too far and actually you should be put in your place for that. But that's like very specific to the black community. Like I said, there's a lot of cultural context there that Bill Maher was not touching on. And he had like this black female prosecutor who was like, oh, Chris Rock is more of a man for not slapping because he had the entire weight of the black community on his shoulders. And then Bill Maher agreed. This is what I'm saying. Like, this is the problem with our representation in mainstream spaces. There's no fucking way somebody should expect Chris Rock to have the entire black community on his fucking shoulders. And honestly, he should have reacted like a goddamn human. Like, I understand trying to keep professionalism for television, but also there's fucking physical assault, and a grown-ass man physically assaulted you. So the human response is to hit that motherfucker back, and he did not act like a human. He acted like a goddamn robot. Now, we can call that professionalism or whatever, because everybody likes to save face for television, but now everybody saved face to the point where no one's watching fucking television, okay? So, and also, like, let's get real for a second, because like, some of y'all are fronting like we are not extra familiar with fucking world star hip hop and the real violence that the youth are exposed to every fucking day. Okay, people are fighting left, right, up, down, and center. It's whites, blacks, Latinos, it's everybody. People are getting fucked up when they go outside, and has nothing to do, but it transcends class and racial groups, all the shit. Okay, the Karens are fighting on Euphoria. The Cronishas are fighting on Crenshaw. It's happening everywhere, and it's not specific to the black community. Also, there's just more white people. So, I was also going to bring up the fact, like, and maybe we could do like a watch along of this, but I don't know if you guys saw this, like, 2 years ago or last year, where there was like there was something happening in the Congress, right, where there was a whole bunch of white dudes and they were all like voting on something. It might have been a part of the UN. Now, some people started saying some shit, and all of a sudden papers flew and everybody got up and started fighting. They were beating each other's asses right on the house floor. And it was just like, wow. And I mean, I did not see people up in arms about that. It was all over. If you watch C-SPAN, right, and you pay attention to politics, this shit was running in clips like all day long. But I don't like, Hollywood wasn't up in arms then, right? And it was kind of like, wow, these are the people who are supposed to like be creating and maintaining laws, but like we don't want to talk about that. It's just because the only thing that happened was something about a bill, and they were like, oh, we don't want to pass the bill, and like, fuck you. And he's like, pfft. And it was like, ah! And like all these old ass white dudes got up and started like beating the shit out of each other. So that really happened. Let's read the statement though. So, updated with AMPAS statement. 2 days after the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences Board of Governor initiated self-described disciplinary proceedings against Will Smith over his slap of Chris Rock at the Sunday Oscars, the heartbroken King Richard Best Actor winner today has preempted the harshest punishment that he could have received and left the organization voluntarily. Sources said Will Smith was told by the Academy that he likely could be expelled for a decade or more. That possibility prompted Smith, who has been an AMPAS member since 2001, to jump today before he was pushed in hopes of diffusing the situation. So here's his speech. I have directly responded to the Academy's disciplinary hearing notice, and I will fully accept any and all consequences for my conduct. That's real. My actions at the 94th Academy Awards presentation were shocking, painful, and inexcusable. That's true, too. Yeah. Well, I don't know about inexcusable. I wouldn't go that far. That's definitely his PR team. The list of those I've heard is long and includes Chris, his family, many of my dear friends and loved ones, all those in attendance, and global audiences at home. I betrayed the trust of the Academy. That's true, too. That's true. And it is actually, I think it takes a lot for him to say that. I deprived other nominees and winners of their opportunity to celebrate and be celebrated for their extraordinary work. I'm heartbroken. I want to put the focus back on those who deserve attention for their achievements and allow the Academy to get back to the incredible work it does to support creativity and artistry in film. So I'm resigning from membership in the Academy of Motion Pictures, Arts, and Sciences and will accept any further consequences the board deems appropriate. Change takes time, and I'm committed to doing the work to ensure that I never again allow violence to overtake reason. That makes sense. I think he's being very accountable for his actions. I think that is a very noble thing to say, and I think he's probably done a lot of reflection on how his reaction at that particular moment in time could have been handled better, and I appreciate that. The one point though that I did want to make about the punishment or removal, let's say, of Will Smith from the Academy is that the lessons that will be learned from the handling of the situation from the Academy side and from Will's side basically means that and this has actually been happening before. So many times we have this very fine line of like acceptable behavior, and once you cross that level of acceptable behavior, you need to be removed. The problem with this removal is it doesn't like work through any sort of solution. There's no like reparative path, right, to like reintegration or resolve. It just says like this action is intolerable, and therefore now you are no longer removed. You can no longer be included in this societal space. Now it's just that has actually happened so often that now we have like counterculture is mainstream culture. That's the whole reason we had rap music and hip hop in the first place. There was all these societal issues that were unwilling to be talked about anywhere else. So then basically poor black people and people of color created a whole genre of music that started to talk about those problems. And it was just created as an outlet of self-expression for that community who was unwilling to be heard in these like mainstream spaces. But now so many people from the mainstream spaces have identified and relate to the stories being told in counterculture and hip hop that everyone has now moved to the counterculture space, and the counterculture space has become mainstream. But we've actually never addressed the real reasons why it had to be counterculture in the first place. So my point is, in this case, Will Smith and all of the people that admired his actions, like, we can say whatever we want, but I think that for Will and Jaden and Jada, and really all of Will's family, like, yeah, maybe they think that physical violence is not that positive, but also I think they feel pride that their father stuck up for their mother. I think that that's real, and I don't think that we can deny that. And I think in the black community, we actually needed to see that. And so I think that Will, in this moment, did more for black Americans, black people in America, and really black men as a force really to be reckoned with. And I think that that is more important than his membership in the white academy. If Will Smith wants to make another film, he will. And we will all watch it because Will is incredible. He's incredibly talented. And, you know, it's the Academy that is at a loss here, not Will. It's the Academy that's at a loss.